Hello everybody and welcome back, and right now let us actually try to code a simple program that will actually retrieve a banner from an open port from the software that is running there. So first of all you need to open up both Kali Linux and the Metasploitable. As we can see right here, I have them both open. Also, you need to check the previous video if you didn't, in order to make your IP addresses match to the local area network address. As we can see, it belongs right now, since my IP address of my Kali Linux is right now 192.168.1.7 and the IP address of my Metasploitable is 192.168.1.5. So they both do belong to my IP range of local network, and right now we are good to go and actually can try to code the simple banner retriever. So first of all, let me zoom this in so you can see it. We will go to the Python programs and we will go to the scanning. There we will make a program with nano called ret_banner, which basically stands for return banner, and we start with the simple line of hashtag !user bin Python. So right now let's first think of what we need to code. So what we need to code is basically something similar to a port scanner. So we will try for a certain range of ports, for example for first 50 ports, we'll try to actually connect to those ports, and when connecting to those ports we will actually try to receive something from those ports. Now by receive I mean receive some bytes if they send any, and if they do send, those bytes will most likely be something like either prompting us to log in or either sending us the version of software that they are running. So let's see how we can actually do that. All we need to do for now on is import socket library, since with that library we'll be performing all of our actions such as connecting, retrieving data from that port, and so on. So let's make a function called main. As usual, that will be our main function. Now let's first try to actually retrieve a banner from a single port. So let's actually add a port to be 22, which is the port for SSH, which I know that it is by default open on the Metasploitable. Since Metasploitable does have a bunch of ports open, you can use nmap to scan your Metasploitable in order to check it out, but trust me, it is an open port. And right now we can specify the IP address to be the actual IP address of our Metasploitable, which is now 192.168.1.5, I believe. Yeah, it is .1.5. And all we have to do is actually create a variable which will be banner, which will store the result of actual port sending us banner back. So let's see how we can do that. What banner will be? It will be something that we will return from the function return banner, which we didn't code yet, and we will code it right now. But that function will actually take an input of IP address and of the port, which is the port 22. And then simply after that, if banner exists, so if we received anything, we can just print something like this, plus IP, which is the IP of our Metasploitable, plus, whoops, and then we can do something like this, plus banner, so it looks better. What this will do is basically it will print something like this, so plus 192.168.1.5, whoops, then the this sign right here, and then the banner right here will be something like this. At least I believe that is something that it will be printed out. So all we have to do right now is first of all call our function, which is main, and we need to call the return banner function, which we use right here. So this is a non-existent function. We need to make it, and it will be rather simple to make, since we will use something similar as to the port scanning function. So banner takes the input of the IP and the port. We place the two dots right here, and we will actually try to connect to that port. So first of all, let's set the default timeout. So socket.set default timeout, oops, to be, for example, 2 seconds. And now we will create a socket object. Let's call it s socket.socket. We don't need to specify anything in the brackets. it doesn't really matter if we specify whether it's IPv4 or TCP protocol. We can leave the brackets closed without anything, and all we want to do right now is to actually connect. So connect to the IP and the port. So use the double brackets, open and close, and select the IP and the port in those brackets. And the banner, which is our variable right here that we selected, will actually be what we receive from that host that we scan. So s.receive, and we want to receive 1024 bytes. So this is a function that we didn't use yet. It basically stands for receiving. Once we connect to the target, this function right here will try to receive 1024 bytes or less from the target, and it will store those 1024 bytes in the banner variable. Now we hope that within those 1024 bytes is the actual banner of the open port software that is running on SSH. So all we have to do after that is return the banner itself, since we specify the banner variable to be this function, which will return then the data to our banner variable. And in case that doesn't work, we will just return from the function itself. So we won't really print anything or do anything, we will just return without saying anything. So let us save this. I hope everything is correct. So yeah, it should be. Right now we want to chmod the red banner, and if I run it, invalid syntax, okay, so there is some error that we need to fix, such as this one. This error right here needs 2 dots, so let's save it right once again. And as we can see, we successfully were able to retrieve the banner of the SSH port running on the Metasploitable tool. So now, right now we know that on the port 22, the Metasploitable is running SSH-2.0, OpenSSH 4.7p1, Debian-8 Ubuntu 1. So right now, for example, if we wanted to, we know that this is the banner of the open port, and if you wanted to, you can copy actually this, and you can try to, for example, search on Firefox for any specific vulnerabilities for this particular software. So let's see if there are any. You can just search it like this, so this and then exploit or something like that, it doesn't even matter. Or vulnerabilities, you can search anything you want, and maybe their software or that version of the software is currently vulnerable or outdated or something like that. As we can see, OpenSSH security vulnerabilities for the versions 4.7p1, which is our version, as we can see, 4.7.p1. Then you would go to that link and try to actually find some vulnerabilities that you can exploit. But right now, let us actually try to make it scan multiple ports. Oops. We do not only want to scan the port 22. What we want to actually do is we want to type here for some variable x, for example, in range 1 to 100, let's say. We want to perform all of this. Now the IP address can stay like this, or let's actually prompt the user for an IP address before the loop. So we will just use the same IP equals raw underscore input for the Python 2, or we can actually just use input. So it actually works both for the Python 2 and Python 3. I believe it will. We will see. Enter. Oops. Star, so it looks better. Enter target IP. So once we get prompted that, we enter this loop, which will do all of this for each port in range from 1 to 100. So let's see if we actually retrieve anything. And we can actually strip the new line, or let's see if it even retrieves the new line. Let us just run this program. I'll show you what I meant by that, but let me just run it. Return banner 192.168.1.5 invalid syntax. So what is now invalid? invalid. Let's just go with the raw input. Perhaps that is making a problem, but perhaps not, so let us try. Global name port is not defined. What do you mean global name port is not defined? Oh yeah, we specified here port, so instead of the port, since we use variable here x, we will just delete x and make it port. So for port in range 1 to 100, maybe that is more easy to understand, we want to go to this function for each port number for the same IP address. So change that, Control O to save, Control X to exit, 192.168.1.5, and we can see we actually received something for different ports. We received 4 different banners, which this one I really don't know what this is, but we were able to receive an FTP banner for the port 21, which really isn't specified right here, so this is something that we should add. We want to add which port are we receiving the banner from, so let us do that. And we want to strip the ports from the banners from the new line, so we don't have this open space right here after every port scan. So nano return banner. Let's see how we can do that. We can do that simply, we can remove the new line by doing strip open brackets and then -n. I believe this will do the work. And what else did we want to do? We want to print out the port as well. So we set this, then plus IP, then plus, and we can do plus slash. Let me just do it like this. So plus slash, and then plus port. So if I'm not mistaken, it should work. It should look something like this. 192.168.1.5, port 22. And let's separate it like this. And then something, and then for example open SSH or something like that. So it should look something like that. Let us see if I'm correct. Just clear the screen since this looks really weird. Okay, so we are missing something somewhere. Let us see, what are we? Oh, we are missing a plus right here, so plus port, and then after that we need to specify another plus, and now we should be good to go. 192.168.1.5 cannot concatenate string and integer object. Sounds good, but let's now make our port, since it says that it can't really add an integer to the string, so we need to make our port number to be a string in this case, just in this case where we print it out. In any other cases, for example this function, it will be an integer, but once we print it out we need to make it to be a string, so this actually works. So 192.168.1.5, and here we get the same result as before. Not really sure why it is still printing out the new line. Let's see if we can fix that as well. Banner equals s.receive. And then let's try it right here, so strip. But it shouldn't really present any problem. Let us try it once again. I mean, it's not really that big of a thing, but it's still, for some reason, making it with a new line. It doesn't even matter. What matters is that we have an actual program that can successfully scan for the banners of software running on the open port. So that will be about it for this video. In the next video, I will show you how you can create a program which will compare the banners from the scan with the file that contains all the vulnerable software versions. So for example, you download a file from the internet that contains all of the vulnerable software versions, and if our scan retrieves a banner that actually matches some of those banners in the file, we will say that the target is vulnerable. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye!